before and here is the after. What a difference. You can see how bad the grass was. It just happens like that sometimes, but I've got a great machine, as you know, and it does a great job. These bees are going mad on all this bramble. Good to see. Good colonies up there. A couple of dead outs there was in this April, unfortunately, through starvation, but we're getting there now. Everything back up as it should be, and everything could be really good. Good morning. Well, we've got some bird song, but I tell you, there's not much to sing about. Trees are coming into flower. Cold winds from the north still. It's just really worrying. Again, we're at this stage in the season where for the third year running, the last 2 years have not been very good. Last year was really dry as well. We've got basically 4 weeks in front of us where we've got a chance of getting a decent nectar flow, and the temperatures are lower in June than they've been for years and years and years. We don't know why, but all we can do is hope that there's a change of fortune. It's actually now raining, because there is a weather front coming through, but it's weather from the north. There's a cold front coming down this morning, and it's just going to be kind of like another dead lost day. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to be loading up a load of plastic and rubbish. I'm going to take that to the dump this morning. I mean, it just gives you some idea. There's a hive over there. There's just no bees flying to it. Yesterday I was at an apiary. I did a little video, a reel and a short for YouTube as well, but it was just because it was like spur of the moment and I felt a little bit more confident. But here we are again, back to the crap weather. You can hear it's raining, windy. There's the chestnut tree with its talons still not in flower. So in some respects, if it's crap this week, I'm like, okay, fair enough. It's going to be better than having all the flowers out now. Maybe we'll get some warmth within a week or so. I'm standing underneath this lime tree, and you can see, look, the buds still aren't moving. Still the same. Buds are hardly moving at all. So I suppose in some respects it's good because it's holding everything over, but it's just downright annoying. We've basically had this weather now like this kind of northerly pattern probably for 4 months. And it seems like nothing seems to get through Europe. It's just this blocking low pressure, which keeps the jet stream further south. So I don't know what we're going to do. If we don't have any nectar in the next 4 weeks, I'm going to have to feed my bees and we're going to have to write this year off. I should be able to do splits and make coins. There is drones. And I'm going to have to do that anyway because obviously I need to keep my bees growing so I can make splits. I've got spares for next year, so I've got bees to sell, and if I want to grow a bit I can. But in terms of nectar, it's a complete disaster so far. The spring has given me 130 kilos of spring honey and some dead outs, as you know. That's what these guys need. Things have got so desperate. This is what I left for. Oh, look at this. This is a rose chafer. Isn't that absolutely beautiful? Off it goes. See the azure wings on it. Absolutely incredible. Getting back to the point in hand, this is what these bees need. I'm actually, on the individual basis, I'm going to each colony. They're all alive because I fed these a week ago. And thankfully they're all alive. So what I'm doing is literally, I am going back to the hive, to these, my stock I've got on the truck each time. It's not too far to walk. And I'm going back, I've already got one for this hive. Look, I'll use another one here. So I'm going back and I'm giving these colonies a treat. They're having a frame of honey. So I'm putting that in there. The nectar flow is about to start, well, we think in about 2 or 3 days, maybe a week, but there's no real guarantee. So I'd rather have this honey used up, and it's what it'll do, it'll enable the colony to get strong before the flow actually kicks in. Now, I did feed them a little bit of feed, even after feeding them 3 to 5 kilo approximately, and these frames are still empty. So tell me that it's wrong to feed with the super on. It's not right to do it, but when you've got a massive volume of bees, you just can't take that super off with the time you have, because it's an emergency. If you don't. So feeling a bit more positive now. I think we're nearly through the dirt. You come to a place like this that is surrounded by chestnut. I mean, like surrounded by it. You can see there's some fronds over there just about to open up. I showed you in my last video, but this is really close to flowering, and there's literally, this is chestnut land, this place, and there's literally tons of this stuff. But they're still quite closed up, even though it looks like they're going to flower. It won't be long, but it'll be at least another week. So that's why I'm back today, just checking feed levels, and I'm actually giving frames of honey that I stored from last autumn that I was going to keep for my nukes, that I thought, you know what, rather than giving feed, I'd rather get this stuff into the brood nest and alongside the brood nest where they need it. So I've just put a frame in here where they need it, and then they can build and supply what they need to that brood. So the minute that flow hits, they're going to be absolutely mad with it. They're going to bring everything they can, store it in the super. There's absolutely no evidence at all that there's any syrup gone into the supers. It was that desperate that if I fed above a feeder, and in most cases I managed to take the bees up, if I didn't, there's nothing gone in the supers. I want to make that absolutely clear. I'm absolutely adamant that there's nothing gone in the supers, because the brood boxes were so dry that I think that chance is gone. And they're going to use everything up anyway, because there may be a complete week yet before we get any real nectar flow. And then think how long that's going to take to kick in, of them storing it, drying it, put it in the right place. They're going to build the brood boxes out first before they put anything above, because they'll want to make sure that that brood is well fed. But anyway, we're getting through this dearth. It's been the worst dearth I've ever known in all my beekeeping life. I spoke to my colleague this morning, who I used to work with, Christian. He's telling me a story that someone phoned him up, 2 people phoned him up last week and said their bees have been killed by poison, pesticide poisoning. He said, well, what makes you think that? He said, well, there's a load of dead bees out the front, which is indicative of pesticide poisoning, but actually, it was actually a mound of bees. Pesticide poisoning, you tend to see bees trying to leave the nest, and you'll see like a big kind of semicircle of bees as they get out the colony and they die. They come back to pesticide, they go into the colony, they feel shit, and then they die in like within half an hour, 20 minutes. So they tend to try to go out the colony first. Whereas death by no food, actually there's a pile of bees there, because as the colony starts to sacrifice bees to maintain the brood that's there, as they start to maul the brood to pieces, the bees start to die and they literally get chucked out the front. But then there comes the point where there's so many bees dying that the colony can't cope and it collapses because the front entrance gets blocked. Several dead outs in one apiary that I got caught. I hold my hand up. It was a complete disaster. There's no excuse, but it happens. And you could say, well, it's the type of bees you have. They take a lot of syrup. Yup. And I could go over to Carniolan's and dump the buckfast and move to a bee that isn't quite so dependent on huge brood frames. But you know what? Once in 10 years, if you lose a few because of that, at the moment, that's something I'm prepared to live with. But I'm looking at the possibilities of introducing a more Carniolan type bee that will maybe cope with the dearths better. What can you say? I mean, the other thing you could say is that I pulled all the honey off and left nothing for the bees. I didn't do that, and that's the main point here, is that I didn't pull hardly any honey off any bees. I think I pulled 130 kilos off 200 colonies, and that's made no difference at all. The colonies that were dead were the ones in an area that all had honey on, and they've just used it all up. That's why I was caught out. And there's no excuse, but I was caught out because I thought they had honey because I hadn't pulled any, and they all had a little bit on it. But they've used it, and then they've died. Do you see my point? It is what it is. It's just a miscalculation. I've used loads of syrup now. I'm paying for it, but I'm also using, as I've just showed you, these frames of honey that I've got stored, which is just perfect for what the bees. They will probably break that down. They won't store it. They'll use it in the colony, and within a few days' time, those frames will be probably find the center bit will be eaten out, and they'll use that to start brooding into, which is great.